Good evening everyone, welcome back to another fight time video. So today we have a black UV cruncher. So let's just get on with it anyway, without my silly sound effects. So hook we've got in the vise here, this is a Troutline W633 in a number 12. I love these hooks for still waters. This is pretty much all I use, even for dry fly work like 16s and 18s I use these as well. So anyway, the thread I'm using here is a Textreme Black and 6-0, only because I don't have any black 8-0 left unfortunately. But anyway, we'll start this thread at the eye of the hook. I'm just going to wind it back just before it gets to the bend, and then we're going to trim off our excess. So for the tail I'm actually using some black cockhackle. I've got a black cape, let's have a look. I'll just try and get this cape out for you. Actually using exactly the same, so I've got this lovely black cape. It's actually really long, as you can see. Can't see it at the back, but it's really long cape. I use like the under feathers here, these thicker ones at the back. I use those for the tails, and as you turn over, I've got these ones on the front, which are the nice thin ones. I use these for like the hackles on flies. So I've got my one for my hackle, and I've got one I use for the tail. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to strip off a few of these fibres on the back. Find the ones I like. I do actually have another one of these sat on my desk which is even longer. I could do with a longer one. There it is. So I've got one slightly shorter, one slightly longer. There you go, there's the longer one. So I'm just going to grab some nice tail fibres off this. They're quite soft as well, so they give a nice sort of manoeuvrability or movement in the tail. So I'm just going to grab a little bunch and then tie them in at the butt. There's a nice tail for the cruncher already. It's going to be about the same shank length as the hook. Now the first material we are going to tie in now for our rib is some black Perdigon wire. This is Troutline Perdigon wire in black. This is actually 0.1, so it's quite thin. And I'm just going to tie this in. Also going to tie in our rib material, which is going to be some UTC, and this is the pearl ice, or the ice blue pearl. This is basically just a UV tinsel. Now we're just going to place this on the side and tie this in also. Just do some wrap around itself, just do a couple of turns to secure that in. You'll find it always bunches up like this in the UV, which is quite annoying when you're trying to tie flies, but is what it is, can't do anything about it. Now, next material is going to be our body, is some black peacock. It's lovely, this black peacock. It's like a kind of nice blue shimmer. Can you see it, like blue-green shimmer on the tips of it? It's a really nice feather, this one. So I'm just going to tie this in at the tips and just run my thread down the shank of my hook. Now if that UV will actually stay out of my way, I will now start at the back and wind my cock pheasant tail back down towards the eye. Now stop 4 or 5 millimeters short and just do a few turns to secure it in place. Trim off any excess. And now what you can do is grab your UV, start at the back, and we can just do a few turns forward, just space them evenly. Again, just one turn over the top and one in front, and then just trim that off also. And then come in with your black wire and wind the opposite way. So just wind the opposite way all the way up the shank of the hook, crisscrossing over the body and crisscrossing over your tinsel. And then as you come here, take your thread, come over it, and then fold your wire at 90 degrees, and that way you can just do a few turns over the wire to secure it in, and then just give it a little wiggle and it'll snap off. Perfecto. I'm just going to take my thread back slightly because I want to tie in my thorax. Now I like contrasting thoraxes on these. I always like black and red, so I'm actually going to use some this is some hen spectra dubbing. I think it's Spectra. Yeah, Spectra Dubbin, and the code is 319. It's like this lovely kind of reddy colour, or plum red, I don't know, whatever it is, just a nice red colour. I like to use this on the thorax of these flies. Now I'm just going to dub this onto my thread. And once it's dubbed on, you can then just wind some on just to create like a nice little thorax section. There we go. Just pull all your fibres back. Now the next stage is to grab that other piece of your hackle. This is the other bit of black cock hackle. Again, the hackle fibres on these are just short of the length of the shank. Now I want to tie in the dull section face down. So you just tie that in. Then what you do is the stalk bit is here, fold that stalk back and tie a few turns over the stalk as well. And that way this isn't going to go anywhere, it's nice and secure. And then come in, trim off that stalk excess. And all that's left to do, my friends, is to just wind your hackle down towards the eye. Just 3 turns will do. So come over the top, just wiggle it through there because we're catching a few fibres. 1 turn to secure it in, fold everything back. Always keep tension on your thread. If you don't keep tension on your thread, this isn't going to work. You've always got to keep tension on there. Just try to keep that last fibre, there we go. And then just take your thread, just wind it back upwards slightly. And that'll basically put your fibres facing backwards. And all you have to do is make sure your thread's tight, bang, and just rip that piece off. So it's a really good looking cruncher, this one. Just going to do one more turn there. Just going to move this light so I can see a little bit better. There we go. Now, where is my varnish? I lose my varnish every time I do a video because I'm useless. There it is. So this is the varnish I use, the brush coat by Vineyard. Love this varnish, really good. And then just add some, what that is on there. Add some to your thread, don't know what's on there, a little bit of resin or something, I don't really know, something's on there. Grab your whip finish tool. Make sure your hackle's out the way and just do however many turns you want. 5, 6, 7, 4, well 5 minimum really. Secure that in. Come in with your skizzers. Trim off your excess thread. And boom! There you go, there is your black. How many times am I going to drop my whip finish tool? And there is your black UV cruncher. Don't worry about the head will sort itself out once the varnish soaks into the fly nicely. It takes a few minutes to soak in. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.